Everyone told me I needed at least $1 million before I could walk away. I left with $320,000, a one-way U-Haul, and a date circled on my calendar, September 14th, 2022. The town I moved to doesn't have a Whole Foods. It doesn't have a Tesla charging station or a co-working space with cold brew on tap. The population is 11,000 people. My mortgage is €0. I bought the house outright. My monthly expenses electricity, groceries, internet, gas, health insurance, everything €1 run about $800. And in 23 months of living here, I have not once wished I was back at my standing desk in a glass tower overlooking Elliott Bay. But that's not why I'm making this video. Because the money story isn't the story. The real one took me a long time to understand. I spent 9 years in tech. Started as a junior developer at a SaaS startup in Austin in 2013, straight out of a 3-month boot camp, earning $48,000 a year. By 2016, I was at a mid-sized company in Denver earning $90,000. By 2019, I was in Seattle, a Euro senior engineer at a fintech company, a Euro 180,000 base plus equity, the kind of salary that makes parents go quiet on the phone for a second when you tell them. I was good at the job, good enough to keep getting promoted, good enough to stop noticing how much of my actual life I was trading for it. Here's what a typical Tuesday looked like. Wake at 7, laptop open by 7:15, stand up at 9, 3 more meetings before noon, lunch eaten at my desk in 11 minutes. Afternoon interrupted every 20 minutes by Slack. Dinner ordered on an app at 8:30, laptop closed at 10. Repeat, I wasn't miserable in any dramatic way. That's the part that makes it so easy to miss. It was a slow erosion Euro, the kind where you look up one day and realize the person you used to be, the one who hiked on weekends and called friends just to talk, had quietly been replaced by someone who only discussed work, even when they weren't working. I still almost didn't leave. Almost. What changed was not a book, not a podcast, not a fire subreddit thread. It was a Tuesday stand-up in November 2021. My colleague, a 53-year-old engineering manager named David, didn't show up. He'd had a heart attack the night before. He had been planning to retire in 18 months. He had said it at every team happy hour for 2 years. 18 more months. Just 18 more months. He didn't make it. I went home that night and opened a spreadsheet for the first time in my adult life of Euros, not to track a project, but to track my own existence. What did I actually have? What did I actually need? The answer surprised me. $320,000 in index funds. A condo in Seattle worth $440,000, which I could sell. No kids, no debt. And a recurring daydream about a small town in the Smoky Mountains that I'd driven through once on a road trip and never fully stopped thinking about. The math, when I actually ran it, was not what I expected. Most people in the FIRE community tell you that you need 25 times your annual expenses saved before you can walk away. What they don't say is that formula assumes your expenses stay fixed and that you never earn another dollar. I wasn't planning to never earn another dollar. I was planning to earn on my own terms Euros, maybe 8 hours of contract work a week Euros, from a town where a full week of groceries costs $40 and a Saturday afternoon hike is free. So I sold the Seattle condo, cleared $410,000 after taxes and fees, combined it with the $320,000, bought a house in Brevard, North Carolina outright for $215,000. Moved in September 2022 with roughly $320,000 still in the market untouched. Monthly expenses today: electricity $90, internet $65, groceries $210, gas $30, health insurance through the marketplace $240, miscellaneous $150 total. $795 a month. The freelance contract work I do Euro, 8 to 10 hours a week Euro, brings in $2,000 to $3,000. I have not pulled a single dollar from the portfolio. Not once. Here's what nobody told me to expect. I didn't expect how physical the shift would feel. I sleep 8 hours every night. I hadn't done that since college and didn't realize it until the 3rd week here when I woke up without an alarm and felt nothing but rested. I didn't expect the mornings Euro, real mornings, not the 40 minutes before stand-up. I make coffee at 6:30 and sit on the porch and watch the fog move through the ridge until it burns off. The mountains do not send me calendar invites. There are 4 things on my schedule this week. 4, and I did not expect who I would quietly become once the noise stopped. There is a moment I keep returning to. About 7 months after I moved, my father was hospitalized in Memphis. Not immediately life-threatening, but serious enough that he needed someone there. In the old life of Euro, the Seattle life of Euros, I would have booked the first flight, taken 3 days of PTO, spent those days fielding messages from the waiting room, and come home feeling fragmented. Half present in two places, fully present in neither. Instead, I drove to Memphis. I stayed for 11 days. I was there every morning when the doctors came in. I was there when he got frightened. I was there when he started to get better. I wasn't calculating anything. I was just there. On the last night quietly, he told me he hadn't expected me to be able to stay, that he had been bracing himself to say goodbye to me at the airport after 3 days, the way he always had, and I realized I had trained him to expect that a euro, for years of abbreviated visits and early departures a euro without ever meaning to. That's what the job had cost. Not the years exactly, not the stress, the presence, the ordinary, irreplaceable hours of just being in the same room with someone who needed you there. No salary puts that back. 2 years later, I won't tell you this is a frictionless life. The isolation is real. There are days when the quiet feels less like peace and more like absence. There are stretches when freelance slows and the spreadsheet gets a hard look. There are things I miss about Seattle a euro, the food scene, the energy, the feeling of being inside something large and alive. But I have not once, on any morning on that porch with the fog on the ridge, wished I had waited, wished I had gotten to 1,000,000 first, wished I had stayed for 18 more months. The number was never the point. It was always the Tuesday you were spending a euro. And the question of who was going to decide what that Tuesday looked like. The clock doesn't wait for your spreadsheet to feel finished. It never has. The only thing standing between most people and the life they actually want isn't the balance in the account. It's the story they keep telling themselves about how much more they need before they're allowed to begin. I stopped telling that story on September 14th, 2022. You can stop telling yours today.